In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Have you ever felt the weight of the world pressing on your chest, like the air itself has betrayed you, leaving your heart restless and your mind racing? Have you ever laid awake in the quiet of the night, begging for relief, feeling as though no hand could soothe the storm within? What if I told you that the secret weapon against this relentless anxiety is not found in the world, but in the heart, in the soul, in the surrender to one who is closer than your own heartbeat? We often look for peace in fleeting things. Control, answers, certainty. But true peace is the gift of Allah. He says in the Quran, and rely upon Allah, and sufficient is Allah as disposer of affairs. Surah Al-Ahzab 33:3. There is a profound strength in letting go, in trusting the one whose knowledge encompasses what we cannot see. Anxiety diminishes when the soul leans fully on Him, when we release the illusion that we alone are in charge of our lives. Pain is real, heartbreak is real, waiting is real, but within this reality lies a divine truth. The struggle is not wasted. The Prophet taught us that every sorrow carries a seed of growth, every hardship a path to closeness with Allah. When your mind whispers, I cannot bear this, remember that your heart is not breaking, it is awakening. This is what Sabr truly means. Not resignation, but steadfast trust that Allah's timing is perfect, even when the world seems cruel and chaotic. Let this be a daily practice. Speak to your heart in the language of Allah's mercy. Let dhikr become your anchor. Whisper, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. Allah is sufficient for me. There is no deity but Him. When fear creeps in, when the mind spirals into what ifs, bring it back to this divine reality. You are never alone, and every storm passes by Allah's decree. Stress fades when gratitude blooms, when we acknowledge that what has been taken is replaced with unseen gifts, that the trials we endure are shaping a resilience that only the soul can know. Forgive, release, and trust. Trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what is not meant for you cannot reach you. This is the medicine for every anxious thought, the balm for every weary heart. So when life feels heavy, remember that peace is not in avoiding struggle, but in embracing surrender. Your heart, trembling and tender, holds a power greater than any worldly fear, the power of connection to Allah. Lean on Him, speak to Him, find refuge in His remembrance. Let your soul rest in the certainty that no worry lasts beyond Allah's command, and that every heartbeat, every tear, every whispered plea is known, cherished, and guided by the most merciful. Stress and anxiety are often misunderstood as signs of weakness, as if the heart that trembles under pressure is somehow flawed or inadequate. But the truth is, these feelings are not a defect. They are a reflection of the soul's awareness, a subtle alarm that something within is yearning for connection, for meaning, for the presence of Allah. The human heart is not meant to carry the weight of the world alone, yet we are taught to seek strength not in isolation, but in turning toward the one who knows what we cannot see. Anxiety is a messenger, quietly telling us that our reliance on ourselves or the fleeting comforts of the world is insufficient. It points toward a deeper need, a spiritual thirst that can only be quenched by faith and remembrance. Every heartbeat of worry, every restless night is an invitation to awaken, to recognize that true power lies not in control, but in surrender. When we accept this, stress transforms from an enemy into a guide, showing us where our trust has been misplaced and where our hearts truly belong. This perspective shifts our struggles from a source of shame into a doorway of spiritual growth. We learn to respond not with despair, but with intentional reliance on Allah. As the Quran reminds us, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Surah At-Talaq 65:3, recognizing that anxiety is not a weakness, but a signal of the heart's desire for divine closeness, allows us to approach our emotions with gentleness and wisdom. The heart is not broken by stress. It is awakened, guided toward a reliance on Allah that is both humbling and empowering. In this way, what we often fear as a flaw becomes the first step on a journey toward a deeper, more resilient faith, a heart anchored in divine trust rather than fleeting worldly certainties. True inner peace is not found in achievements, possessions, or the fleeting approval of others. It is found in complete surrender to Allah's will, in placing our trust wholly in Him. This surrender, known as tawakkul, is a profound act of the heart, a conscious acknowledgement that while we strive and plan, the ultimate outcome belongs to Allah alone. Many of us spend our lives grasping desperately for control, trying to orchestrate every detail, believing that peace lies in certainty. Yet the Quran reminds us, and rely upon Allah, and sufficient is Allah as disposer of affairs. Surah 3, to realize this, our hearts begin to rest. Surrender does not mean inaction. It does not mean giving up on effort or ignoring responsibility. Rather, it is a deep, trusting partnership between our striving and Allah's divine wisdom. It is knowing that even when outcomes differ from our desires, there is a purpose we may not yet see. Anxiety often grows when we cling to control over things beyond our reach, but surrender frees the heart from this burden. Each moment of reliance on Allah softens the tension within, turning fear into trust, uncertainty into hope. The Prophet taught us that when a servant puts their trust in Allah, their heart will find ease because they recognize that life's burdens are not theirs alone to bear. Tawakkul is not passive, it is active faith. It is prayer. It is patience. It is moving forward with intention while leaving the results to the most merciful. This trust transforms how we experience every challenge, every disappointment, and every waiting period. Peace grows not because the world is free of difficulties, but because the heart has found its anchor in the one who is perfectly wise, perfectly loving, and infinitely capable of caring for every detail of our lives. Patience, or sabr, is often misunderstood as mere endurance, as if it means silently bearing hardship while waiting for relief to arrive. But true sabr is far deeper than passive waiting. It is an active, conscious choice to trust in Allah's wisdom while moving through life's trials with faith and resilience. It is the strength to remain steadfast when the world feels heavy, the courage to hold on to hope when every circumstance seems uncertain, and the clarity to see that life's difficulties are not meaningless. Sabr is a spiritual muscle, one that grows stronger each time we face hardship with reliance on Allah rather than resistance to His decree. The Quran reminds us, O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:15-3. This verse does not merely suggest patience as an option. It presents it as a pathway to divine support, a bridge between human limitation and Allah's infinite wisdom. Patience allows the heart to release the desperate need to control outcomes and instead embrace the knowledge that Allah's plan unfolds in perfect timing. It is through sabr that we learn to navigate uncertainty without losing peace, to endure loss without succumbing to despair, and to find meaning even in moments of pain. Every moment of patient endurance is an act of worship, a silent testament of faith, and a step closer to spiritual maturity. When we understand that sabr is intertwined with trust, prayer, and conscious reliance on Allah, anxiety begins to soften and fear begins to fade. Patience is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of faith in the face of struggle, the quiet assurance that no difficulty is wasted and every trial carries a divine purpose that the heart may not yet comprehend. Through sabr, the soul learns resilience and the heart discovers the tranquility that comes from surrendering to Allah's perfect timing. Anxiety often stems from the human desire to control what is beyond our grasp, from the illusion that we alone hold the power to shape every detail of our lives. We plan meticulously, we worry tirelessly, and yet so much remains outside our hands. Futures we cannot predict, outcomes we cannot dictate, and hearts that do not always align with our hopes. This is the nature of the world. And it is in this very reality that faith teaches us surrender. The Prophet reminded us that worry is natural, but it is lightened when we turn our reliance to Allah, recognizing that He is the ultimate plan. Near the one who shapes destinies with perfect knowledge and wisdom. The Quran says, no disaster strikes upon the earth or among yourselves, except that it is in a register before we bring it into existence. Surah Al-Hadid 5:7-22. Every moment of fear, every anxious thought is a reminder that our hearts are seeking security in something finite, when true security can only be found in the infinite care of Allah. Letting go of the illusion of control does not mean passivity or neglect. It means releasing the heavy burden of trying to orchestrate the impossible and redirecting that energy toward prayer, remembrance, and trust. When we accept that outcomes belong to Allah alone, stress loses its grip. The heart learns to rest, even amid uncertainty, because it recognizes that no trial, no delay, and no disappointment occurs without divine purpose. Anxiety diminishes when the mind ceases to cling to outcomes and instead embraces surrender. The wisdom of this understanding transforms struggle into growth, uncertainty into trust, and fear into peace. By acknowledging our limitations and embracing divine control, the soul experiences liberation, discovering a profound calm that no worldly effort alone could ever provide. Control is an illusion. Reliance is the reality that brings true serenity. Remembering Allah, or Dhikr, is the most powerful remedy for a heart weighed down by stress and anxiety. When the mind races with worries and the soul feels restless, turning toward Allah brings an immediate sense of relief that no worldly distraction can provide. The act of remembrance is not merely repetition of words. It is a conscious connection of the heart to the most merciful. A reminder that we are never alone and that every moment is witnessed and cared for by the one who knows what is hidden and what is revealed. The Quran reminds us, verily, in the remembrance of Allah deep, O hearts, find rest. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. Notice that it does not promise comfort through possessions, achievements, or control, but through remembrance. Every whisper of dhikr is a gentle balm to the anxious mind, a steady anchor in the storm of uncertainty. When we speak His names, reflect on His attributes, and meditate upon His mercy, the heart begins to release its tight grip on fear and worry. Anxiety diminishes when we shift our focus from the uncontrollable nature of the world to the certainty of Allah's presence, His wisdom, and His love. Dhikr transforms ordinary moments into sacred pauses, moments where the soul reconnects with its true source of peace. It reminds us that even in the chaos, there is divine order. Even in despair, there is divine mercy. The Prophet taught us that the heart that frequently remembers Allah will be illuminated and protected from the darkness of worry. Incorporating dhikr into daily life, morning and evening, in times of ease and difficulty, creates a rhythm of trust and surrender. Stress begins to dissolve not because challenges disappear, but because the heart becomes anchored in a presence far greater than any challenge. The soul, through consistent remembrance, learns that peace is not found in changing the world around us, but in aligning our hearts with the eternal, unchanging care of Allah. Pain, heartbreak, and the long stretches of waiting are among life's most profound teachers, though we often resist them because they feel unbearable. Yet these very struggles carry within them the potential to draw the soul closer to Allah, to awaken a depth of faith that ease and comfort alone could never cultivate. Every tear that falls, every restless night, every moment of uncertainty is a reminder that the heart is alive, that it is capable of feeling deeply, and that it longs for connection with its Creator. The Prophet taught us that hardships are not meant to punish, but to refine, to elevate the soul, and to cultivate reliance on Allah. When we face trials with patience and faith, our struggles transform from burdens into gateways of spiritual growth. The Quran reminds us, and we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give good tidings to the patient. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:15-5. This verse is not merely a warning. It is an invitation to see trials as purposeful, to recognize that pain has a divine role in shaping resilience, humility, and trust. Heartbreak and waiting teach us the value of surrender, reminding us that outcomes are not always within our control, and yet the love and mercy of Allah remain constant. Every moment of discomfort becomes an opportunity to lean into Him, to pray, to remember, and to trust His wisdom. When we view our pain through the lens of faith, it no longer isolates or diminishes us. Instead, it strengthens our connection to the one who understands, who comforts, and who transforms despair into hope. Even when relief seems distant, every struggle carries a hidden purpose. Every period of waiting nurtures patience, and every heartbreak opens the door to a deeper awareness of Allah's infinite care and presence. Life's trials often feel endless, as though the weight of hardship will never lift. And yet the Quran reminds us of a divine promise that every difficulty is paired with relief. Allah says, indeed, with hardship comes ease. Surah Ash-Sharh 94:6. This is not merely a comforting phrase. It is a profound truth meant to reshape how we perceive struggle. Pain, loss, and waiting are real, and they matter, yet they are never permanent. The human heart tends to magnify suffering, focusing on what is lost or delayed, forgetting that the very nature of life is change, and that Allah's mercy is company, instant and encompassing. Understanding this allows the soul to breathe even in the midst of trials, to hold on to hope when circumstances seem relentless. Relief may not arrive in the form we expect or in the timeline we desire, yet the divine promise assures us that ease follows hardship, sometimes subtly, sometimes profoundly, and always with perfect wisdom. The Prophet taught us that patience in adversity is rewarded, that the heart that trusts Allah during trials is elevated, and that every test is an opportunity for spiritual refinement. Recognizing that hardships are temporary does not negate their impact. Rather, it frames them as part of a larger, divinely orchestrated journey. The mind begins to release fear and despair when anchored in this truth, realizing that no storm lasts forever, and that the rhythm of life, orchestrated by Allah, balances struggle with relief. Every tear shed, every moment of waiting, and every trial endured becomes meaningful, infused with potential for growth, empathy, and closeness to the divine. The heart that trusts in Allah's timing, that leans on Him amidst difficulty, learns to navigate life with serenity, knowing that every hardship carries with it the seeds of ease, and that no suffering is wasted when surrendered to the most merciful. Forgiveness is a powerful balm for the heart, especially when stress and anxiety weigh heavily upon us. Holding on to anger, resentment, or guilt creates an invisible burden that no external remedy can lift, for the heart carries what the mind cannot see. When we forgive others, we release them from the chains of our judgment, and in doing so, we liberate ourselves from the heaviness that stifles peace. Similarly, forgiving ourselves for past mistakes is essential, for the heart that harbors regret cannot rest, and constant self-blame only deepens anxiety. The Prophet taught us that mercy gets mercy, and that forgiving others is a reflection of trust in Allah's justice and wisdom. Forgiveness is not a denial of wrongdoing, nor is it weakness. It is an act of strength, a conscious decision to entrust the outcome to Allah while freeing the heart from bitterness. When we forgive, we align ourselves with divine principles, releasing the tension that festers within and opening space for healing and tranquility. The Quran reminds us, and the servants of the most merciful are those who walk upon the earth easily, and when the ignorant address them harshly, they say words of peace. Surah Al-Furqan 25:63. Forgiveness begins with our inner dialogue, choosing peace over vengeance, understanding over judgment, and trust over fear. Every act of forgiveness, whether toward others or ourselves, diminishes the grip of stress and anxiety by removing the emotional clutter that clouds the heart. The soul that practices forgiveness experiences freedom, a lightness that allows it to lean more fully on Allah, to embrace patience, and to find comfort in His wisdom. By letting go of what we cannot control, the actions of others, past failures, and lingering regrets, we create a space where inner peace can flourish, where anxiety is softened, and where the heart begins to rest in the certainty of Allah's justice, mercy, and perfect timing. Reflecting on divine decree or Qadr is a practice that transforms the way we experience stress and anxiety. Much of our worry stems from clinging to outcomes as if they were entirely within our control, forgetting that Allah alone governs the universe with perfect wisdom. Accepting that every event, every encounter, and every challenge occurs according to Allah's knowledge does not diminish our responsibility, but it frees the heart from the exhausting illusion that we can orchestrate every detail of our lives. The Quran teaches us, no disaster strikes upon the earth or among yourselves except that it is in a register before we bring it into existence. Surah Al-Hadid 5:7-22. This verse invites reflection, a gentle reminder that nothing is random or meaningless, and that every experience, whether joyous or painful, is part of a larger divine plan. Anxiety often grows when we resist what has already been decreed, when we fight against circumstances we cannot change, or when we question why certain difficulties have occurred. By embracing Qadr, the soul learns to surrender without despair, to trust without hesitation, and to move forward without fear. This acceptance does not mean passivity. Rather, it is an active engagement with life rooted in faith, patience, and hope. Recognizing that Allah's knowledge encompasses what we cannot see allows us to release control over outcomes, to let go of unnecessary worry, and to anchor our hearts in divine wisdom. Every hardship, delay, or loss is not a punishment, but a thread woven into a tapestry of infinite wisdom and mercy. Understanding Qadr teaches the heart to pause, to reflect, and to trust that even when the path is unclear, every step is guided, every tear counted, and every prayer heard. Through this awareness, the weight of anxiety lifts, and the heart begins to rest in the certainty that Allah's decree is both just and perfectly timed, leading us ultimately toward growth, resilience, and closeness to Him. Gratitude is a transformative practice that has the power to soften the hardest of hearts and illuminate even the darkest moments. When stress and anxiety overwhelm us, it is often because our focus is fixed on what is missing, what has gone wrong, or what might never be. Gratitude shifts this focus, turning attention toward the countless blessings that surround us, often unnoticed. The gift of breath, the presence of loved ones, the ability to, witness another day. The Quran reminds us, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor. Surah Ibrahim 14:7. This promise is not merely about material gain. It is about cultivating a heart that perceives abundance rather than lack, peace rather than fear. Gratitude softens anxiety by reminding us that no matter how heavy our burdens feel, Allah's mercy and provision are ever present. It is an active practice, one that requires reflection and intention, a conscious choice to acknowledge the gifts in our lives rather than to dwell on what we wish were different. Even in moments of difficulty, gratitude can emerge in recognizing the lessons, the growth, or the resilience that hardship fosters. The Prophet exemplified this through his unwavering thankfulness in every circumstance, teaching us that a grateful heart is a content heart. By nurturing gratitude, we train the mind to find light in darkness, hope in despair, and peace in uncertainty. It becomes a shield against the constant pull of worry, a lens through which the world appears balanced and purposeful. When we wake each day and intentionally reflect on our blessings, the grip of stress loosens, the noise of anxious thoughts quiets, and the soul remembers that every hardship is accompanied by Allah's mercy. Gratitude does not eliminate challenges, but it transforms how we experience them, allowing the heart to rest, the mind to find clarity, and the spirit to recognize the unending presence and care of Allah in every moment of life. Focusing on the present moment is a powerful tool for alleviating stress and anxiety, yet it is one of the hardest lessons for the human heart to learn. Much of our worry stems from dwelling on the past, replaying regrets, or fearing the unknown future. We become trapped in what was or what might be, forgetting that life unfolds only in the now and that every moment is an opportunity to connect with Allah. The Quran reminds us that Allah is aware of every instant. He knows what is presently before them and what will be after them. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:25-5, emphasizing that while our perspective is limited, His knowledge encompasses all time. Anxiety often thrives when we overestimate our control over what is to come, or when we carry burdens from yesterday into today. By consciously bringing our attention to the present, we can release the weight of these imagined worries and find clarity, peace, and direction. This practice does not require denying our responsibilities or ignoring plans for the future. Rather, it is about engaging fully in the moment we are given, performing our duties with mindfulness, and surrendering the outcomes to Allah. The Prophet taught us to live with awareness and intention, reminding us that the heart anchored in remembrance and focus is less susceptible to fear and regret. When we pause to breathe, to reflect, and to acknowledge Allah's presence in each action and thought, stress begins to dissolve. The present becomes sacred. A space where reliance on Allah meets conscious effort, where the mind is no longer pulled by endless scenarios, and where the soul finds rest. Focusing on the now allows us to navigate life with serenity, responding to challenges with clarity rather than panic, and embracing each moment as part of a divine rhythm that carries us closer to peace, understanding, and trust in Allah's perfect guidance. The Prophet taught us that worry and anxiety are natural parts of human experience, yet they can be lightened through sincere prayer and unwavering reliance on Allah. When the heart feels restless, when the mind is consumed with fear or doubt, turning to Allah in supplication becomes a refuge, a sanctuary where burdens are shared and the soul finds comfort. Prayer is not merely a ritual, it is a direct conversation with the most merciful, an intimate connection that reassures the heart that it is never alone. The Quran emphasizes this closeness. Call upon me, I will respond to you. Surah Ghafir 40:60, reminding us that Allah's attention and care are immediate and constant. Prophet demonstrated through his life that the heart finds ease when it surrenders its worries in prayer, when it entrusts outcomes to Allah, rather than clinging desperately to control. Anxiety diminishes when we actively place our concerns in His hands, acknowledging both our limitations and His infinite wisdom. Alongside prayer, reliance, or tawakkul teaches the heart to trust Allah's timing and plan, understanding that what is meant for us cannot miss us, and what is not meant for us cannot reach us. This combination of supplication and reliance transforms fear into hope, uncertainty into assurance, and restless hearts into calm ones. Even in moments of profound hardship, the heart that consistently seeks Allah through prayer and trust experiences a serenity that worldly remedies cannot provide. Stress loses its grip when we remember that every concern, every challenge, and every longing is seen, known, and guided by the most merciful. By integrating prayer and reliance into daily life, We create a rhythm of connection that shields the soul from despair, nurtures resilience, and anchors the heart in the certainty of Allah's presence, care, and wisdom, transforming anxiety into a quiet, steadfast faith that carries us through life's storms. Every difficulty we face carries a hidden gift, a subtle lesson wrapped within the fabric of our trials, though our hearts often struggle to recognize it in the moment. Pain, loss, and disappointment are not signs of divine neglect. They are opportunities for growth, self-reflection, and spiritual refinement. The Prophet reminded us that hardships are not meaningless burdens, but pathways to elevation and closeness to Allah. When life feels heavy, it is often because we are seeing only the surface, only the immediate discomfort, rather than the deeper purpose woven into every challenge. The Quran teaches us, do not grieve, indeed Allah is with us. Surah At-Tawbah 9:40, highlighting that even in moments of despair, divine presence surrounds us, offering support, guidance, and unseen blessings. Every trial can awaken patience, humility, gratitude, and reliance on Allah, qualities that cannot be cultivated without struggle. The soul is refined like gold through fire. Every hardship purifies, strengthens, and prepares it for greater closeness to the divine. When a door closes, it is not merely an ending, it is an invitation to trust Allah's wisdom and to recognize that what He has planned may surpass what we can imagine. Similarly, every tear shed, every anxious night, and every longing heart carries with it a potential for growth, empathy, and resilience that would be impossible without the trial itself. When we look beyond immediate discomfort, we can begin to see the hidden gifts embedded in life's challenges, the lessons learned, the strength gained, and the depth of reliance on Allah nurtured. The key is patience, reflection, and conscious remembrance, allowing the heart to uncover meaning where it once saw only suffering. Through this lens, no difficulty is wasted. No pain is meaningless, and every moment of struggle becomes a stepping stone towards spiritual maturity, peace, and a deeper connection with Allah. Healing is not always found in the absence of pain, but in the conscious turning of the heart toward Allah. The journey of the soul back to its Creator is a process, gentle yet profound, one that unfolds with patience, reflection, and sincere reliance on divine guidance. When the heart has been wounded by loss, by disappointment, by the weight of life's trials, it instinctively seeks comfort. Yet true solace is discovered not in worldly remedies, but in the remembrance and presence of Allah. The Prophet taught that the heart that constantly remembers Allah will find peace, and that every moment of hardship carries the opportunity for spiritual growth and purification. The Quran reminds us, indeed, my Lord is near and responsive. Surah Hud 11:61, affirming that the healing of the heart is never distant from Allah's care. Healing begins when we acknowledge our pain without resistance, when we allow ourselves to feel yet do not lose hope, and when we surrender our burdens to the one who knows what we cannot see. Anxiety and sorrow lose their grip when the soul learns to place trust in divine wisdom, understanding that every trial carries a purpose and every hardship can be a source of closeness to Allah. The process of healing is intertwined with gratitude, patience, forgiveness, and reflection, all of which open space for peace to enter. As we walk this path, the heart becomes resilient, able to face life's challenges with quiet strength, anchored in the certainty that nothing is wasted in Allah's plan. Healing is a return, a gentle reconnection with the source of our existence, a restoration of trust, hope, and love within the soul. It is in this spiritual journey that true peace resides, a peace not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in divine presence, mercy, and guidance, where the heart learns to rest and the soul finds its ultimate sanctuary in Allah. In the midst of life's storms, the heart often feels overwhelmed, burdened by worries it cannot control and fears it cannot silence. Yet the secret weapon against stress and anxiety is always within reach. Surrender to Allah, trust in His wisdom, and immerse the soul in His remembrance. Every hardship, every restless night, and every tear carries the potential to draw us closer to Him, to awaken patience, gratitude, and resilience within our hearts. Stress loses its power when we release the illusion of control, forgive, reflect, and anchor ourselves in divine trust. Remember that ease always follows hardship, that every trial has a purpose, and that Allah's presence surrounds you, unseen yet infinitely close. Let your heart rest in the certainty that no struggle is wasted, no pain is meaningless, and no anxiety is beyond the reach of divine care. The most profound peace is not found in changing circumstances, but in transforming the heart through faith, surrender, and unwavering trust in the most merciful. Embrace this truth and allow your soul to rise above worry, finding strength, serenity, and hope in the eternal promise of Allah's mercy and guidance.